Hello, and welcome to DTM Society. Today we'll be discussing Russell Brand and his fight with mainstream media, and where it all began. Russell Brand is a well-known comedian, actor and activist who has been outspoken about his views on politics, society and the mainstream media. He has been involved in several controversies throughout his career, but he has been praised for his activism and his willingness to speak out against injustice. In this video, we will explore Russell Brand's journey and his fight against the mainstream media. Russell Brand was born on the 4th of June 1975 in a small town in Essex, England. He had a difficult childhood as his parents divorced when he was only 6 months old. He was raised by a single mother who suffered from cancer and mental health issues. This led Brand to a long struggle with drug addiction and expelled from several schools before he found his passion for performing. Russell Brand began his career as a stand-up comedian in the late 90s. He quickly gained a following for his irreverent humour and his willingness to tackle controversial topics. He appeared on several TV shows and radio programmes including MTV and BBC Radio 2. In 2006, Brand starred in the film Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which helped to launch his career in Hollywood. Russell Brand has been involved in several controversies throughout his career, like the time in 2008 where he and TV presenter Jonathan Ross were criticised for leaving explicit messages on the answering machine of actor Andrew Sachs. This incident led to Brand's resignation from the BBC Radio 2 show. In 2013, he was criticised for his interview with Jeremy Paxman on the BBC's Newsnight programme, in which he called for a revolution and refused to vote in elections.
There's no alternative.
No, I'm not
just
saying
this
that.
system.
I'm saying if you
Brilliant.
can't be asked to vote, why should we be asked to listen to your political point of view?
You don't have to listen to my political point of view, but it's not that I'm not voting out of apathy. I'm not voting out of absolute indifference and weariness.
Now, over the years, Brand has been a vocal critic of the mainstream media and its role in shaping public opinion. He has spoken out against media bias, big tech corporate influence, and the concentration of media ownership. In 2014, he launched his own YouTube channel, The Truths, which focused on news and current events from a progressive perspective. The channel was a success, with millions of views and subscribers. On August 20th, 2015, Brand uploaded episode 366, announcing that it would be the final episode in the series. Brand said, "I think we've come as far as you can with The Truths, for now." Brand also said he would be taking a much needed break from social media, including his Facebook and Twitter, to spend some time learning. Brand was quoted saying, "I'm not going to be doing The Truths. I'm not going to be on Twitter or Facebook. I'm going to be learning because I know real change is coming and I want to be a part of that." Brand said his decision to stop the show was driven in part by what he sees as the cyclical nature of news reporting and the response he got from the media to the show. Media behaves in a very sort of predictable and formulaic manner. If you speak out about the process, you become the recipient target of such incredible condemnation. It's in a way overwhelming and in others completely understandable.
Hello, what's your name?
Cathy, I'm French.
You're French? Oh no, I think we've got an anti-France policy, haven't we? No French, oh, no, okay. So then, during the Second World War, did you collaborate with the Nazis, the invading forces of which were occupying your country?
Not me.
As we previously stated, Brand has encountered several controversies throughout his career. In his numerous autobiographical works, he has described how he was fired from his MTV hosting gig after coming to work the day after 9/11 dressed as Osama bin Laden and bringing his drug dealer to the studio. He has also written at length about his prolific drug use and sex life. In 2002, Brand was reportedly sacked from the UK radio station XFM for reading pornographic material on air, and in 2008 he was suspended and then resigned from his BBC Radio 2 show after he left voicemails for Fawlty Towers actor Andrew Sachs, saying he had sexual relationships with Sachs's granddaughter. In 2009, it looked as if things were changing for the better for Brand. He met his soon-to-be wife, Katy Perry, on the set of Get Him to the Greek. At the time, Katy was one of the world's most successful pop stars. The pair became engaged and were married the following year at a Hindu ceremony in India, but divorced 2 years later. Meanwhile, Brand was becoming just as well known for his political views as his work as an actor. He guest edited an issue of the left-leaning current affairs magazine The New Statesman, appeared on Question Time opposite then UKIP leader Nigel Farage. he was interviewed by Jeremy Paxman on Newsnight. And in 2013 he was ejected from the GQ Awards after he criticised the event's sponsor Hugo Boss for its history in making uniforms for the Nazis.
So, also glad to grace the stage where Boris Johnson has just made light of the use of chemical weapons in Syria, meaning that GQ can now stand for Genocide Quips. I mention that only to make this next comment a bit lighter, because if any of you know a little bit about history and fashion will know that Hugo Boss made the uniforms for the Nazis. And the Nazis did have flaws, but, you know, they did look fucking fantastic, let's face it.
Brand returned to radio in 2017 with a new weekend show on Radio X, formerly XFM. However, this show only lasted less than a year. Recent years have seen him take a new direction, particularly since the start of the COVID pandemic in 2020. Brand grew his following on YouTube as he discussed conspiracy theories surrounding the disease.
A woman who has accused British comedian and presenter Russell Brand of sexual misconduct has described his response to the allegations as insulting. Mr. Brand posted a video denying any wrongdoing hours before claims of rape and sexual assault were published by British news outlets Channel 4 and the Times newspaper. He also accused the mainstream media of carrying out a coordinated attack on him.
This leads us to Brand's current affairs. The allegations put in place stem back from 2006 to 2013. Since these allegations came to light, Paramount Studios has removed one of Brand's stand-up comedy specials after several women accused him of sexual assault. His comedy special, Russell Brand in New York City, was available on streaming platform as of Tuesday morning. According to screenshots taken by NBC News, it was not immediately clear when the 1-hour special was taken down. A 24-year-old runner claimed Brand once flashed his penis when she went into his dressing room and insinuated that she could give him oral sex. Brand's former personal assistant, Helen Berger, told the newspaper she witnessed Brand showing intimate pictures of women to his friends, including pictures of a woman she knew.
And at a certain point, I was like, okay, let me see what we're looking at. And I leaned in. As he's going through these pictures, he gets to a picture of somebody I knew. It did something to me. It made me feel really sick to my stomach.
A female comedian said Brand would repeatedly bite my face whenever she saw him, while a male comedian, Daniel Slott, told the newspaper he was aware his female counterparts had been warning each other about Russell for years. A quote from Brand before his show at Wembley about his current allegations.
These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play?
Brand's most recent stand-up special, Russell Brand Rebirth, remains available on Netflix. Netflix did not immediately respond to email Tuesday requesting comment on the status of Rebirth. Paramount is the latest organisation to distance itself from Brand. He was denied all allegations put against him. He has not been charged with any criminal offences. Russell Brand's YouTube channel has not been without controversy. Considering the allegations, YouTube suspended his revenues from his channel after serious allegations were made against him. He was making roughly $1 million per year off ad revenue. Even with the demonetization, Brand has continued to speak out against censorship on his YouTube platform, targeting big tech companies that control the flow of information. A spokesperson for YouTube said, "We have suspended monetization on Russell Brand's channel for violating our creator responsibility policy. If a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees, or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community." Russell Brand has spent the past decade telling the world to not trust the mainstream media. Now, the comedian will find out whether the wider public has bought into the scorched earth narrative or if they believe the claims of rape and sexual assault reported in the Sunday Times and on Channel 4 over the weekend. What's different from previous cases is that the prominent man has already largely stopped working with the big media institutions. Instead, Brand largely exists in a parallel world where his income comes from podcasting, YouTube ad revenue, and selling membership of his online community to become one of Russell Brand's awakened wonders. Fans gain access to interviews with the likes of former Fox News host Tucker Carlson and anti-vaccine US Democrat presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy. As a result, although he had been dropped by his agents and could find it a challenge to attract mainstream advertisers, the damage to Brand's current career may be limited by his decision to spend recent years building a fan base around right-wing talking points and COVID vaccination skepticism. Multiple newspapers and broadcasters have looked into various allegations against Brand in recent years, but several failed to get their stories to a position where they could be published. In the end, it took teams of journalists working from 3 separate outlets, the Sunday Times, The Times, and Channel 4's Dispatches, to combine their reporting to get the story to the public. Video site Rumble has lashed out at the UK government for asking if it would stop Russell Brand earning money on the platform following the sexual assault allegations made against him this year. According to the statement on Rumble's Twitter feed, the company received an extremely disturbing letter from a committee chair from the British government. In response, the company said it empathetically rejects the UK Parliament's demands and will not join a cancel culture mob. In recent days following the letters between UK government to Rumble going in favour of Brand, a number of large companies have pulled their ads from the streaming platform Rumble. Burger King, ASOS, The Barbican and HelloFresh are just some of the companies who have distanced themselves from Rumble. So guys, that's my take on Russell Brand and his fight against mainstream media. I think Russell is a fascinating and complex figure who raises some important questions and issues that deserve attention and debate. However, I also think he is flawed and problematic in many ways, and he should be held accountable for his actions if true. I don't agree with everything he says or does, but I do respect his right to express himself freely. What do you guys think? Do you like or dislike Russell Brand? Do you think he is a hero or a villain? Do you think he is being censored or exposed by the mainstream media? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.